Hey, welcome to Things I Learned Last Night. This is a comedy podcast where we joke around and we learn useless information every single week. This week, we talk about Katko versus Brineys. This couple owned an old house filled with their antiques. They didn't live there, and so people were breaking into their house, and teens were going there and treating it like a little oh, we can get in this haunted house or whatever. So they started booby trapping it. Now the problem is, if you don't live there and one of your booby traps hurts somebody, is that still self-defense, or is that reasonable that they would be able to go to a vacant property and not get, seriously injured or killed? And that's what the lawsuit was about. We talk about the merits of this. They talk about the trial. We talk about the incident that led to the trial. Really interesting episode. We like it a lot. Thank you for checking out our show. Let's get into it.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Edward and Bertha Briney?
Edward and Bertha Briney?
Yeah, or maybe Briney could be. That's possible that Briney is the pronunciation there. I think it's Briney.
Bertha.
Briney. Edward and Bertha.
Briney?
It's definitely not Briney. Okay. I know that. It's not that fancy. They're from Iowa. It's definitely not Briney.
Okay. No, I guess I probably haven't heard of this couple from Iowa.
Yeah, that's literally, they're just some
They're
couple.
from Iowa, which is an hour from here?
Maybe 2 hours. I don't know. It's potential.
I don't know where Iowa is.
So here's the deal. Edward and Bertha. Bertha's... so Bertha in 61, 62, somewhere around there.
Was born.
No, she has a mother. Her mother passes away, and she inherits the family farmhouse. Here's the deal. They don't want to live in the family farmhouse.
Okay.
But they want the family farmhouse,
Yes.
And so they're like, what if we made this an Airbnb? But the technology isn't here yet. So we got to hold.
In the 60s?
Yeah, we got to hold for a while.
Okay.
For the technology to come around, and then we can make this an Airbnb. Really, it was just kind of like sentimental value. Like they wanted the farmhouse to be
in Iowa?
Yeah, it's in Iowa. Small town Iowa. Let's see if I know the town name. I don't.
Cool. Is it okay.
Mahaska County, Iowa. Couldn't tell you where that is. Somewhere in Iowa. Yeah, really? Tell me.
No, I said I could. Not that I will.
Oh, good. It looks like it's like southeastern Iowa.
Okay.
And it's not in a town. It's like unincorporated county land is where this farmhouse is. They inherit this farmhouse and they want to keep it. They want it to be in the family. They use it to store all the family heirlooms. And so they left everything that was in there. Like they didn't do an estate sale or anything like that. Okay. They left it how it was. They also moved some of their family heirlooms that wasn't like her mother's family heirlooms there. And so they just kind of had this other house. They lived miles away, probably 30, 40 minutes away.
Okay.
And so they would visit occasionally, mow the lawn.
See the stuff or what?
No, they visit occasionally to
oh yeah, here's our heirloom.
If you look around, there's
some plates.
Yeah, that's I think that's the thermostat. I can't tell.
I don't know houses.
And so no, they would show up to check on the house and make sure it was okay.
Okay.
How are you doing, house? No, they would
the house was like,
The house didn't speak English.
Oh, that was a different language? Okay, got it.
But it spoke for sure. They just didn't know what.
They were just like, whoa.
What are you saying?
This house speaks to me.
No, you don't get it. It really speaks to me.
Yeah.
Imagine telling that to your realtor and being serious.
You don't hear that?
You don't hear that?
We should go to some open houses, dude.
We should spend. You don't hear that in here right now?
What are you doing this weekend?
You want to go to some open houses?
What are you doing Sunday from 11 to 2? If I had to pick a time.
If I could pick any time where there might be some open houses. So they go to mow the lawn and do general upkeep and clean and just make sure it's not falling apart basically. Occasionally. I'm not even saying once a month, maybe every other month, maybe every third month, it's pretty rare.
Sure.
But they show up occasionally. And so they're just sitting on this house. And over the years, the house, just because nobody's really living in it, they're just kind of showing up and checking on it. It starts to kind of fall apart and get a little dilapidated. And it becomes...
A little what?
Dilapidated.
Okay.
What do you? Is that
No,
not
it
a
was
thing?
just a word that you really went for. That's a big word.
Did I say it wrong?
No, you're great. Keep going. It was just sometimes your vocabulary, I go, oh.
What do you? I think I know words. Do I look like a guy who don't know word?
A person who historically doesn't know words.
No, historically I know words. You just think I say them wrong.
That's
you
fine.
just have this idea.
That's okay.
That
That's
I
okay.
say stuff wrong.
Like, keep going. I was just surprised.
So the house is dilapidated.
Sure.
And it becomes kind of like a thing where like local high schoolers and stuff like break in and just kind of mess around, you know, like they're like, oh, look at this ghosts and stuff, you know?
Oh, okay.
And so
This is the house from The Notebook.
kind of, it's like everyone's like, we're going to go in there and like throw a party or like hear the ghosts or maybe take some stuff, but not like, it's just like whatever for fun, you know? And also for taking stuff. You know, some people are like, I'm actually going to steal some stuff out of this house because there's stuff here still, even though it's falling apart. No one's really squatting. I don't know if people do that in Iowa.
They can't. Their legs.
People in Iowa don't have knees. You're looking at me like there's something I should know.
You should.
And I don't.
About Iowa?
And so it becomes a spot. Like it's a spot. So they start doing all this stuff to try to keep people out. They put up do not enter signs. People keep entering. They put up do not trespass signs. People keep trespassing. They start like putting up new locks.
Because people in Iowa
can't
read. This sign says blah, blah, blah.
It looks like the sign says blah, blah, blah. Gosh.
This seems like a sign that would say rah, rah, rah. And that's what I'm going with.
It's like the mid 60s. And so it's like, what was it? Bob and Dwayne are going out.
Eugene.
They're going out to the house and they're like, we need to talk to that one kid from school, the nerdy kid, Poindexter, to see if he can come out and read the signs for us. We don't know what they say.
Hey, hey, get out of here. Hey. What's this sign say? It says, do not enter. Shut up, nerd.
Punch him in the face. How dare you tell us not to enter? And then they enter.
What does it actually say?
And so the signs aren't working. They start putting on more locks on the doors and on the windows. They start trying to like barricade it, and people are still getting in. They're breaking windows, breaking in, entering. Classic breaking the law.
And then one day,
finding their way in. And so this becomes a trend for like years. Finally, in the 1970, Edwards had enough. Edwards
I've had the house for like 10 years now?
Yeah, they've had the house for like 10 years. People are breaking in and entering, and they're getting frustrated. They've tried everything, except for selling the house. And he's like, we got to find a way to stop these people. Yeah. And so
the moat didn't work. They dug a moat.
They put an alligator in the living room.
Well, I'm saying, if you said they tried everything.
Have they tried everything? There's no moat. There's no...
Right.
Yeah. Call the tunnel lady.
Right.
On TikTok. Have her put a moat in. And so he's like, I've had enough of this. I'm going to solve this problem.
The tunnel lady?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You don't know what I'm
Call the tunnel lady on. I hate
TikTok?
that's where we're at with technology. Social media started as a way to connect us. And now you say stuff like, you know, the mole lady?
You don't know what I'm talking about. The tunnel lady.
You know that lady with birds on TikTok? The tunnel lady?
I swear we've talked about this before.
No.
She lives in like Indiana, I think, like the suburbs in Indiana. She is a mechanical engineer, I think. And her hobby, well, here's the thing. She wanted
her hobby.
He's
tunneling.
So she wanted to take her suburban home, like a regular suburban, like a new res from like the mid 2000s cookie cutter home, like you see anywhere. She wanted to turn it into a castle, but she needed the stone to build the castles around it, like the castle facade around it.
Okay.
And she didn't want to buy all of that stone. So instead, she blew a hole out of the side of her basement and dug a mine and had this mine shaft that went down like 60 meters underneath her home.
This is not something I've ever seen.
And started pulling out and like, it's like this functional mine. And so on the weekends, this is her hobby. She bought a mine cart and it's got a track.
What's up, guys? I'm here on TikTok Live. We're mining.
It's actually more like those stories. So she films the whole thing and then she voiceovers it of what she did. And so she like,
hey guys, here we are going into my mine. And it was a pretty rough day today. Actually, the track is a little bit, you can see how that's like, okay, sorry. Well, I probably shouldn't have included this part of the video. The mine rail derailed and killed one of my workers. But anyway, other than that, pretty productive day. We got a lot of stuff done on the house.
Yeah, just like that.
You know what I was telling my wife the other day? I said, because she's just looking up stuff I saw this thing on TikTok. I want to buy this. Yeah. I said, you are addicted to advertisements.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah.
How is this where we're at?
So she's just showing you ads?
Like not
sending
paid
you
ads. It's just everything that's on her feed is something
to buy.
Two out of three things in your feed is stuff that's like, you should buy this.
Yeah.
Even if it's not linked in the TikTok shop. It's
interesting.
It's like, here's a cool product. Here's something that, everything.
Did you listen to Prof G today?
Yes. What about it?
They referenced that. They talked about the tribe that they brought phones to. It was like one of the...
yes. Yeah. And then all the girls are addicted to social media.
Within like 2 months.
And the guys are addicted to stuff online.
Yeah.
And within 2 months, they
like destroyed this tribe.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They thought they were like, we're connecting you to the world.
Yeah.
And they gave them like Starlink and phones and all this stuff. They're like, here's how you use it.
Here's the internet.
And it just destroyed the tribe.
Stupid. Like all the young kids are lazy now.
Yeah. That's
wild.
Crazy.
You know what's crazy about technology? Is that we grew up with technology rapidly changing all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Because like we're used to like new things come out. Millennials, we go like, oh, okay, yeah, new stuff comes out. Mm-hmm. And now they have these big press releases. Like, here's the updates that are coming to your phone.
Yeah.
They didn't used to press release it.
Yeah.
They used to just update your phone.
Yeah.
And then one day you open it and you go, oh, I guess I can do this now.
Yeah. And then your parents and your grandparents would be like, how do I do anything?
And you're like, shut up. I got to figure it out first.
And then I'll tell you.
I got to figure it out.
Hey, if you've been watching for a minute and you like this show, a great way to help out is by becoming a Patreon supporters. Our patrons get a ton of perks for their support. They get ad-free episodes a week early. They get a Discord with our hosts and producers. We do monthly hangouts. There's a way to get birthday messages on your birthday. There's a lot of great perks, but more than anything, you just help make sure that this show continues to happen forever. We never want to stop. We're going to keep doing this forever. If we have enough patron supporters, we can put our brains in those little vats and like have AI pretend it's us. And so like we can keep doing it long after we die. But that only happens if you support us on Patreon. So we appreciate your support. Thanks for your help. If you don't want to support, that's totally fine. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate you watching this show.
So I remember the day that group chats became a thing.
Oh, gosh.
Because remember on text message, what you used to be able to do, you used to be able to send a text. You say, hey, to 3 different phone numbers, and then it would just send as 3 separate texts.
Yeah, I think you need to be a little bit more clear to our younger listeners about what's happening.
A text message is when we had our little phones.
It's kind of like, here's a good example. If you're sending a DM on Instagram, you can send DMs separately. You can check all the different people and send separately.
Can you really?
Or you can send them in a group. Yeah.
Oh.
But in early texting, there was no send as a group.
There was no,
you only
it was only send separately.
So you write one message.
In 3 numbers, write, hey, send it, and it would start 3 separate
threads.
They understand that. I don't got to talk to them like they're children.
They are children.
It would start 3 separate threads. And then one day, out of nowhere, group chat, right? And no one found that out harder than the kid in the grade above me, who was a tool. No one liked him, all right? But he found himself in a group chat with 42 girls that he had sent "Good night, beautiful," and sent it to all 42. And then one night, just one group chat.
All 42.
And there were screenshots of that group chat.
Yikes.
He had to change his phone number because all 42 of those girls would say "Good night, beautiful" at the end of every night. He would get a text message from every single person. It was like,
yikes.
And so every night he'd get 42 texts.
So hold on. He had been doing this.
He had been sending.
And then
"Good
one
night,
night
beautiful."
they all found out
and then one
that they weren't the only
group chat.
I'm one of 42.
Beautiful. I love justice.
That is Oh,
Sometimes our justice system really crushes it.
that was the justice.
That was the justice system.
Anyway, so back to Tunnel Lady. So she's
Okay,
digging.
so
So
she's
she's digging this hole, and it really is like she's got a mine cart that goes down. She's got power running through it, lighting it. She's got a sump pump pumping water out of it.
We're on different sides of TikTok.
She has built this. It's a fully functional mine, and she's dug really deep, and she's got a quarry that she's literally like, I'm not even kidding, tons of rock that she's pulling out.
And that's not against our HOA.
Well,
What are they gonna do about it?
she did this for a year, posting TikToks, doing updates, and the whole point of it is to get the stone so she can turn her house into a castle. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got a lot of rock under my house. The city finds out. The city shuts her down. They give her a
They're
stop
like, hey,
work.
you didn't call 811.
Yeah.
Dig right.
Well, they really were. They were like, you don't have a permit. And in the state of Indiana, this was an interesting thing that came up and I think we covered an episode that loosely related to this. In the state of Indiana, you don't own the ground below your house. Like you only own the foundation.
Oh, really?
In some states, you own everything below, everything above is your property. But in some states, you only own the height of your building. So you only own down to the bottom of your foundation and then up above. So now she's digging into state property and nabbing state property. So she had to get a special permit to be able to do that, got to stop work. And so she hasn't done anything for like a year. And so now her TikTok's huge, millions of followers.
Yeah, now her TikTok is her dancing.
She became like a thirst trap TikTok.
Stop.
Yeah. And honestly, I need to show it to you. But it's like, it's crazy. It's insane. I think I actually sent this to you the other night and I was like, she's thirst trapping
I
now.
probably shouldn't. I probably didn't look at it because I'm
pretty
married.
sure-
You probably sent it to me and I went, Tim. I have a wife.
Whatever you think of when you think thirst trap, that's not what she's doing. She's doing a whole different kind of thirst trap. And you need to see it to believe it. Like it is not what you expect. It's not what you're expecting.
It's probably not a thirst trap. It's probably not meant to be attractive. But you're looking at it and you're like, I can see how some people might be into this.
I
Like,
get it.
what are you talking about, dude?
It's not. No, it's not.
Are you thirst trapping? What is
But
it, thirst
she broke it the other day because she was driving by a construction site and she noticed there was a bunch of just stone sitting out there and she's like, can I have that? And so now now she's mining their stone. So now
imagine you're a construction worker and then some girl walks up to you with her phone pointing at you and she goes, can I have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. And they're big hunks of stone. So she's literally out there with a jackhammer. She's filming herself
And
now.
for every stone she takes from the state, she owes another one, So she's like she's in rock debt. to these people.
Yeah.
How does this relate to the house at all?
Because you said moat. And when she builds her castle, she's also building a moat. So she does have a moat started in her backyard. She hasn't done the front yet, but she does literally have a moat.
I would put a lazy river around my house.
Yeah. And she's been...
When I create a content creator facility.
The creator house.
Yeah.
So she dug a moat and it's like 5 or 6 foot deep and she poured concrete on the sides and she filled it in. So she has a moat around her backyard of her house.
Drawbridge.
Not yet. And she needs more stone. That's the problem. Is she has to get stone from
She's got to
somewhere.
get more stone.
And the city won't let her get her stone.
But I know where she could find.
Anyways, I'll show it to you after this.
Stone.
She's my hero. Oh my gosh.
Tim Stone.
Okay, so this house, they start like fortifying it with just like extra locks and stuff like that.
Okay. I thought you were going to say like they start like freaking booby trapping it.
Well, nothing's working. People are still breaking in. And so there was a guy by the name of, let me get this name right real quick. There's a guy by the name of Marvin Katko, who he was a little behind financially.
Okay.
And he had heard about this house and he told one of his friends, he said, hey, I hear there's a lot of antiques there. I'm sure we could go and get some antique bottles or something like that and make up the deficit that we're in and be good. And so they break in one night, they go to the kitchen.
Like, all right, Marvin. We're going to go to Indiana on a private jet. We're going to get ourselves out of this bank debt. All right, Marvin, let's do it.
So they steal a few antiques.
Yeah.
Leave.
And he goes,
success.
Wait a minute.
And so, yeah.
That was pretty easy.
So they say,
now he's looking at that
a couple
house.
weeks go by.
Like, that house is thirst trapping me. And they're like, I don't think it is.
Using
Marvin.
that word, right?
He's like, no, I feel trapped.
No, that house is speaking to me.
I feel trapped.
I can't tell you what the house says.
I think the house said, ba 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 ba. Which I've interpreted as, come on in.
Yeah, steal whatever you want. The house told me. The house told me to steal. So he tells his
The
friend.
house told me to is something you hope your kid never says to you.
The house told me to.
The house told me.
No, it didn't.
No, it did not.
What is the house saying now?
What does the house say about my outfits? Has the house said anything about me lately?
What's the house think of me?
What is does the house like me?
Yeah, is the house a fan of me? I feel like I made some good updates. I clean. Anyways, so
I dug a moat.
So he says, hey, 2 weeks have gone by. We made a little bit of money off those antiques. He tells his friend, he's like, hey, what else might they have in that house? We checked just the kitchen. Surely there's some more goodies there. And so they were like, let's give it another shot.
Surely there's.
So they said, let's give it another shot. They show back up. Another night, they're going through the house, nabbing some goods. Go up to the master bedroom. Marvin opens up the master bedroom door. Well, first of all, he gets to the master bedroom door and he notices something peculiar. There is a chair propped up against the doorknob, but it's like a door that opens the other way. So it's like not actually stopping anything. You know how you do that?
Yeah.
He's like, this is weird. And so he takes the door and throws it down the stairs. The chair throws it down the stairs. Like, this is stupid. Whoever did this. He just doesn't think much of it. He's like, that was weird. Opens the door and bang, bang, baby.
What?
His friend comes running up the stairs after hearing this loud bang to find Marvin on the ground, leg just obliterated. And there's like a shotgun up by the door with like some twine ran to the doorknob. And so he is like, holy crap, he just got booby trapped. So he grabs him and drags him out of the house and he takes him to a hospital, like the next town over. And they're like, what happened here? And he's like, you're not going to believe this. We were playing hide and seek in this cool neighborhood house.
How old is Marvin?
No, they're adults. They tell him exactly what happens.
Yeah, we were robbing.
Yeah, and so they do all this surgery. They manage to save his leg. They're like, we may end up having to amputate this, but like at least for now, you're going to be all right. He ends up getting tried for the burglary.
Yeah.
And he goes to prison. They do end up being able to save his leg, but it's like, it's in rough shape and he's deformed for the rest of his life. It's a very serious injury. Serves a year in prison, gets out of prison, and is like, my leg is toasted.
My leg's stronger than ever.
He's just got this yoked leg. What had happened was Edward said, hey, we're going to stop this once and for all. And so he's like, I'm going to booby trap the house. And him and his wife go back and forth about this. Why
is the chair there?
Well, him and his wife go back and forth about this.
And his wife, he does the gun. And his wife was like, he's like, honey, what are you doing? She's like,
I'm helping.
Help.
I'm helping.
He puts the chair up and he goes, thanks, Bertha.
So he sets this up in the master bedroom because she says, well, there's a lot of kids who explore. Like, we can't put it by the front door because what if a kid just comes in? Like, we don't want to blow away. Yeah. Someone who's not like actually trying to rob the place. And so they choose the master bedroom because they're like, oh, if they get the master bedroom, they're actually like trying to steal some stuff.
Right.
You know? And so they line it up in the master bedroom and he calls her up to see it, to check it out. And he's like, look, we got it. And so she actually says, oh, you're aiming at like their chest. That'll kill them. And she's like, I don't want you to kill them. Like, aim it a little lower so you hit their legs. And so you just take them out. But like, you don't actually kill them.
And he's like, fine. He's a real stand your ground kind of guy.
I mean, here's the thing.
This is Southeast Iowa.
Here's the thing. If his friend wasn't there, he would have died. Like, he would have bled
right
out there. Like, there's no way he's surviving that either way. And it would have just been a much more painful death. But he and then
the next people
Edward
break
might
in.
know that.
A couple teens break in and be like,
oh, and they find this dude. His legs
just
blown away. Yikes. And so he does. He agrees.
Or you break in and he's still alive and he's just up there going,
yikes. Yeah, as high school kids,
yeah,
they don't help. They run. Yeah. They run so fast they tell no one.
And they're crying.
Yeah, they're losing it.
They're just traumatized.
Isn't that funny? So
Hey, if you need a boost of confidence, let me give you a quick hack. Just wear a shirt size bigger than you usually do. You know what I'm saying? Right now you're wearing large, and just buy an XL, you know? And we have plenty of sizes available in our merch store. If you go to TILLN.com, and so that'll help you boost your confidence overnight. Is that good? Can I say that?
I mean, you can say whatever you want. That's
TILLN.com/merch. That sounds awful.
So they tilt it down. he tilts it down.
Yeah.
And then he nails a piece of tin over the window so no one can see it through the window.
Okay.
Could have just closed the blinds. Nails a piece of tin over the window.
That's the blinds.
Thanks. Nails a piece of tin over the window, cocks the shotgun, ties the string to it, closes the door carefully, and then his wife, in a one last effort to like maybe stop someone from going through, she really did put the chair
puts
the chair up. Yeah. She's like, maybe this will stop them. Maybe they'll see this and think I shouldn't go in there. And so
no, they see that and they go, that's where they keep the good stuff.
Something good in there.
That's what I'm saying.
And so he gets out of prison and he's like, this.
He's like, I have to go back.
he's like, this doesn't seem fair. He's like, I don't think this is.
What do you mean doesn't seem fair?
He's like, I stole some antiques, whatever. Yeah, sure. I served my time. And he's like, but the whole thing that you did in my leg, not cool. And so he calls up some lawyers and he's like, I want to sue him. And so he takes him to court for battery. And is like, you guys.
It's not self-defense.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so he takes this to court. And what is interesting is this became like this lengthy thing that actually went to the Iowa Supreme Court for them to try to rule what do we do with this case? Because
you can't booby trap your house.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like in Iowa, you're allowed to use force.
It's a stand your ground state.
Yeah. Well, it's a stand your ground state, but that only applies for life.
Right.
But you can use force for property, but you can't take a life for property unless your life's threatened, you know, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So there's a level to your violence depending on what is being threatened. And so because there wasn't anyone living there and there was no one present at the time, there became the question of like, okay, is this a valid use of force?
Property.
Because there's no one actually living in the house who was actually being threatened by Katko. And so this became this really lengthy battle back and forth where they were saying, okay, if because it was a shotgun, is that where do we draw this line?
Right.
Was the debate. And it ended up going back and forth all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court justice in Iowa ended up ruling in favor of Katko. And Katko then got the whole damages plus like the emotional damage. And the Supreme Court justice said he like tacked on an extra like 12 grand. So it ended up being like a 50, 60 grand case that they owed him after he broke in and robbed them because they wanted to make an example because they're like, yeah, you can't booby trap your house.
Okay.
And so they appeal and they try to take this back and they lose their appeal. They actually appeal, I think, 3 times. Trying to appeal this case.
It's not self-defense. It's defensive property, and you can't booby trap it.
Yeah. And so they end up basically saying the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Okay.
What you did, you took justice in your own manners and you seriously injured him and you deformed him for life.
That's true.
Over just some stuff.
Antiques.
So yeah,
that's true.
Some antique stuff.
That's true.
And so this became a rule of law in Iowa and many other states across the country now.
I guess I'll take my bear traps down.
Well, that was the thing that they talked about is Katko or the Brineys defense talked about Katko kept calling it traps. And the Brineys were like, well, it's not traps because no one can just happen upon them. A trap is you can just fall, like be walking in the woods and just happen upon this trap. Where this is like, you have to have intent at that point because you broke into the house. You're deep enough into the house.
Yeah.
You've got intent to cause harm. But it's not bodily harm, it's harm to property. And so it ended up being this huge thing. Now, to this day, it is this huge law school case where it's like a famous case in law school where they study it and they argue it and you have to argue both sides in law school.
Right.
Even though you know the results. Well, maybe they don't. until they finish the assignment. I don't know how that works. I've never been to law school.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell. House is dilapidated. So the Brineys end up having to pay this fine and they lose it. So he goes back to his house and he just litters it with shotguns. Just every door has a shotgun on it. Yeah, Edward's just putting shotgun after shotgun after shotgun.
Like he's hello neighboring
doors.
his house.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna forget that didn't happen. I like the idea of him like losing it and going on
he
this.
didn't lose it?
No, yeah, he didn't.
He just paid
lose
it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how. Like I'm sure they went on a payment plan and didn't actually pay it. Like most cases, they just paid the minimum payment every month. But yeah, so they lost that case, and Katko walked away with the cash in that. Isn't that
this
crazy?
is it?
Yeah, that's the story.
Oh. All right. Well, that was 15 minutes.
It's 30.
Oh, it's 30?
Yeah, it's 30.
We can vamp.
You want to vamp for a minute?
Yeah.
You want to talk about the tunnel lady again?
So, that is... No.
Wild. It's wild that he got out of jail and said, I'm going to sue him.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, once you've served jail and like you've done that, especially in like the 60s, 70s,
This is 71.
what are you going to do? You know, like what do you have to lose by not suing them?
I guess. But I feel like the 70s was pre like sue mania.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a big step to sue someone back then, I think. I don't know.
Unless he had like a friend or somebody that was like a lawyer who was like, really? They didn't know one was home?
I doubt.
You know? Unless someone presented that idea to him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, who knows?
I've thought about going back to school and then getting a law degree and then just being a sleazy lawyer.
Yeah. I thought about going and like reading a bunch of law books to see who's wronged me and be like, oh, turns out that was a law.
I've thought about like in my apartment in California.
Yeah.
I thought about just tunneling into the mountainside and creating a TikTok where I can make some money, but then when the state finds out that I'm doing it, I have to stop and resort to thirst traps. I thought about it.
I thought about doing that. Yeah, that could
That's
work
what's
for
happened
you.
to our podcast. Our podcast has been shadow banned.
Yeah, now we're thirst
And now we're
trapping.
thirst trapping.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, when you think thirst trap, you're thinking the wrong thing. Whatever you're thinking of a thirst trap, it's not that. Yeah, I'm telling you, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's just the best. It's the only word that exists to describe what it is, but it's
Sure.
not what it is,
Okay.
you know?
Well, I'll tell you what. I actually think about people breaking into my house quite a bit.
Why?
Well,
Fear.
yeah, anxiety. No, did you watch that? You watched that documentary of the couple, right? That what is it, American Nightmare?
Yeah, with the swimmer
Did you
swimsuits.
swim goggles?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the whole first episode. Did you know how it ended though?
Yeah.
I didn't know. So the whole first episode, we finished the first episode, and me and Ray were both just like, she's making this up.
This is fake.
This is so fake.
It does seem fake.
And then even the second episode, you're like, this is fake.
Yeah.
And then the third episode, they're like, ha, it's real.
Gotcha.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of that fear sometimes.
At any time, someone could break in.
Well, sure. But what do you think about this? People I think that we live in an apartment, and I think that we are safer than people who live in a house.
Yeah. I think there's a sense that you can get away with more at a house. Because like in an apartment, it's like, oh, there's upstairs neighbors, there's downstairs neighbors.
Yeah, there's like walls that
people can hear what's
but
going
also
on
like
here.
you've been to my apartment, like we're kind of not off the main road, but we're like up off the main road. Like
Yeah, yours is a little bit more like
it's a little hidden up there.
Kind of secret your way in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some nooks and crannies.
The only thing I'm
you can
afraid of,
sneak in.
brown recluse spiders. We got them out there. Did you know that? I killed one yesterday.
Yeah, that's rough.
Bummer.
I heard. Yeah.
So I'm setting some traps, right? Because I don't want. The problem is I got cats, right?
Yeah.
But so I've got a shotgun at every door in my house. But my wife has ADD and she forgets that they're there. And so my wife has been shot 4 times.
Yeah.
You know?
And it wasn't for her. It was
She never
for
learns.
the spiders.
It's never. I just have shotguns for the spiders. All right. Anyway, what would you do? Someone breaks into your house.
Now?
Yeah.
we talked about this. I'd run down the hallway full speed.
That's assuming they're down the
Shirtless.
hallway. Where'd they break in this scenario? Your back door?
Any door.
Any door?
Any door. With the way my house is set up,
All
no
the
matter
doors are
where
kinda
they
central
break up,
located.
no matter where they break in, I'm running down that hall shirtless.
Oh, okay.
And hopefully the sight of me in the pitch darkness sprinting down that hall shirtless, barefoot, is enough to make them say, "Oh, I gotta get out of here."
Oh, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Once I get there, I don't know what I'm doing.
No, I know what I'm doing.
Who knows?
It's a fiddle off at that point.
There you go.
Hey, if you liked that episode, here's what these people should have done, okay? We have an episode about the Watcher of 657 Boulevard. Now, these people moved into a house and they started receiving letters from a mysterious figure who called themselves the Watcher of that house. And they started, it was ominous, it was threatening letters, and this is where I would have personally just burned the house down, but they should have started booby trapping it because this person was writing letters and kind of claiming that they were getting inside the house. So it's a very weird, creepy story. Netflix did a whole movie on it. They really embellished the story though, but we talk about all the theories, all the possibilities of who it could have been. It was one of my favorite episodes, so go check that out. If you can't wait until next week when we have a brand new episode on Tuesday, you can watch next week's episode right now by supporting us on Patreon. That's a way to help us keep making great episodes, and you get early access to that content. So if you decide to do that, that episode's available right now. If not, we'll see you next week on Things I Learned Last Night.